Hello everyone, this is Eric, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of The Blood of Wolves, a Japanese crime dramatic thriller from 2018. In 1988, the streets of Hiroshima are rife with Yakuza. Rookie detective Shuichi Hyoka, played by Tori Matsuzaka, gets assigned to the East Kurihara Precinct's 2nd Investigation Division, which boasts the best arrest rate in the Hiroshima Prefectural Police. And he and his new partner, Shogo Ogami, played by Koji Yakusho, a veteran detective rumored to be in cahoots with the mob, are tasked with investigating the disappearance of an employee of a finance company, a front company for the Kakomura organized crime group. So this young guy, Hyoka, confronts these ruthless gang thugs while harboring some doubts about his partner, this law-breaking Ogami guy. So this rookie's going to have to learn things the hard way here, because Ogami gives him a crash course in strategy and street smarts as the two attempt to shake down the bad guys, these Yakuza. And unfortunately for them, there's a mob war brewing between the Kakomura and Odani gangs. So a lot of stuff going on here. The tone of this film is apparent right from the opening scene. We see the Yakuza beat up one of their underlings in a pig farm, shoving piggy poo down his throat and then cutting off one of his fingers because he broke into a safe that was owned by another Yakuza group. So The Blood of Wolves is definitely a throwback to those old school Yakuza flicks from like the 70s and 80s. It has that kind of edgy, grimy feel to it. Even in the police station early on, everyone's smoking cigarettes and they're sweating due to the hot weather. This movie does a very nice job of creating that vibe. The premise, nothing new, right? But we've seen stuff like this before. But it's the execution that counts. And I think the execution here is actually quite good. And there are little nuances and plot developments to enjoy. Koji Yakusho's character is definitely a shady dude. Early on, he receives a sexual favor from a woman that he's supposed to be interrogating. So very early on, you realize that this guy, he's a little dodgy. He's got connections to the Odani Yakuza gang in particular, because he has a meeting with one of their leaders, and he takes payment from them. So one of the things I really enjoyed, though, about this movie is that Yakusho's detective character basically just sits down and talks with these gangsters off the record all the time. Basically, almost as if he were like one of their own, despite the fact that he's a cop. But to his credit, you got to give him credit, he does try to maintain a peace between these Yakuza gangs, despite his immoral actions and methods. So he does have a kind of a good side to him, and you could make the argument that he does his job quite well. But you could also argue that he should be fired from his job immediately. So he kind of rides that line. An interesting character for sure. His dynamic with Matsuzaka's younger cop character is also very good. Yakusho gives him a hard time early on, like anybody would do with a rookie. Making him fight a Yakuza at one point and then yelling at him for refusing to use his karate skills. But this movie rises above its cliches by throwing in some plot turns regarding Matsuzaka's character. I think those worked quite well. There's some good dynamics between these guys. There are some very good side actors in this as well. You got Yoko Maki, Renji Ishibashi, and Yosuke Iguchi, who all appear and do a nice job. Now, in terms of action, there's not much here. This is not an action movie. It's a dramatic thriller. So do not go into this expecting like shootouts and fights, because they are very limited. However, The Blood of Wolves does have a good amount of bloody violence, which does get pretty nasty at times. I think the inclusion of this violence was a good choice, especially considering the genre and overall tone. But it's again, this is more of like the crime thriller type of violence, not action-y violence. And sometimes when I'm watching a Yakuza flick, I want a lot of action. Maybe because the story and the conflicts don't pop quite well. The Blood of Wolves is kind of the opposite of that. I found the story and the conflicts to be very well developed, and the actors do a great job of keeping things interesting. Koji Yakusho is really one of the all-time greats of Japanese cinema, and he continues to prove it. The dude is awesome in this film. I like the dialogue in the film as well. There's a touch of black humor here. For example, Tamaro Taguchi has a small role as a cop who has problems with Yakusho's character because Taguchi's character is aligned with the other Yakuza group in this mob war. So they give each other crap in the police station, but they don't, they try to play down their affiliations with the Yakuza at the same time. It's quite amusing, I thought. Now, the director here is Kazuya Shiraishi. You may have seen Birds Without Names or perhaps The Devil's Path from earlier in the decade. Those are two other films that he directed. I like this guy. He seems to be talented and attracted to darker themed films, which is cool with me. It's just someone to look out for in the future because he has a few good films under his belt at this point. In terms of some criticisms, it is a bit difficult to keep track of all of the characters and how the Yakuza groups are related, but a second viewing or even some replayed scenes will help to rectify that. There's also a very small side plot involving a romantic love interest for Matsuzaka's character. It's not developed much at all. Feels kind of useless, but there's only like a few minutes of screen time dedicated to it, so it's not that big of a deal. But they could have cut it out, I think, for the most part. I mean, there's certain plot developments related to it that do impact the main story a little bit, but not a lot. So, overall, I strongly recommend The Blood of Wolves, especially if you're into Yakuza flicks. This is available streaming on Shudder, the horror website of all places, in the United States. So check this one out. And as always, I will see you next time.